Hi, everyone, and welcome to part two of our Foundation Years vodcast, where we'll continue the discussion around recruitment and retention in the early years sector. And today, we'll re-explore ways in which the early years sector can address the recruitment and retention and the challenges that brings of talented staff within our settings. For today's session, I'm thrilled to welcome Claudio Sisera, Head of Diversity and Inclusion at Male Childcare and Teaching Jobs. Claudio, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Thank you so much for having me, Sebastian. It's always a pleasure to have an opportunity to raise my voice about something that I'm really passionate about in terms of recruitment and retention.
Brilliant. Thank you, Claudio. So firstly, what recruitment strategies have you found to be effective for early years settings when considering how to attract talented staff?
I think one of the things that I've noticed in earlier settings is the focus on creating a positive company culture that highlights specific aspects with regards to values, benefits, and opportunities available within their organization. This involves clear communication on the setting's mission, for example, or any staff development opportunities that a setting or a group of nurseries might have. Any work-life balance arrangements that they might have to support their staff's mental health and well-being, or even any aspects that promote a positive workplace company culture. So just to give you an example, with staff development opportunities, one of the things that I found quite successful in the past myself, but also based on the stories that I hear from members of our community, is to define clear career pathways within the earlier sector. So whenever you have a new recruit or a new candidate applying for a job at your setting, at your nursery, we found it quite positive to sort of highlight not only the short-term career opportunities that can derive from a job in early years, but also the long-term goals. So, for example, is your setting promoting the fact that a member of staff one day might become a nursery manager, for example, or could they become an offset inspector, or could they even get to own their own setting? One of the things that I was never aware at the beginning of my career is that one day I might make my way to working in apprenticeships. And to me, probably if I was made aware of that earlier on in my career, probably I would be doing something completely different today. So I think one of the things that really helps attract more people to the earlier sector is raising the profile of the industry and showcasing the fact that it is a professional career and there are so many career opportunities that can derive from it. Some of the things that I didn't mention, for example, is getting into training and development. Or mentoring and coaching, becoming a consultant. There are so many opportunities out there that I don't think we are making enough positive noise about. Another recruitment strategy that I found quite positive was to embrace storytelling. So, for example, nurseries showcasing staff testimonials and showcasing what really makes the setting unique and rewarding to work at. Now, obviously, having done a lot of work with men working in early years, obviously they are a minority in the sector and they currently constitute only 2% of the teaching workforce. So I feel that there's a lot of work that needs to be done there as well, especially considering the fact that currently we are going through some recruitment struggles in the sector, and I feel that men specifically are an untapped resource that currently nurseries and groups of nurseries are not really leveraging and taking advantage of to alleviate their recruitment struggles. So, in our line of work, we're doing a lot to make the earlier settings as attractive as possible to men as well. And one of the things I always recommend nurseries to do is to engage in male-only recruitment campaigns alongside their traditional recruitment campaigns. So, for example, one of the questions I always ask a nursery manager is, are you showcasing the positive achievement of your current male teaching workforce? Or are you sending male representatives out to secondary schools, colleges, universities to showcase how wonderful it is to work in your nursery? Because often I find that, and a lot of the members of our community as well, find that boys getting to the end of their secondary school journey don't really consider a career in early years. And that's mostly due to the fact that they don't really see themselves resonating in the industry, because all they see around the industry is women. And obviously, that's not in a derogative way, but I think it's very important to send a variety of men from all different backgrounds and protected characteristics to really raise the profile of the early years industry. I believe that there's a lot of work that can be done around producing recruitment material that features diverse role models, for example, such as male educators, and to normalize and celebrate men in these roles. And I would say, whenever you plan show arounds or recruitment events aimed at attracting more staff, don't have your male members of staff hiding in the back room doing paperwork or catching up with paperwork, but have them in the front line showcasing your setting and showing new potential recruits around. So again, you can showcase that a career in early years can be for everyone, really.
Wonderful. Brilliant. Thank you, Claudio. So to build on those many wonderful points that you've already made, when in role, what strategies have you seen to be effective in retaining staff? So going beyond the recruitment.
I think when it comes to retaining staff, again, we are circling back to the fact that offering clear pathways in career progression opportunities is crucial. Having regular professional development opportunity for staff members is also important. And most importantly, I think building a robust mentoring program is quite important in a setting. I often talk about the importance of having, yes, internal mentoring and coaching programs in place, but offering an opportunity for your members of staff to engage in external mentoring and external coaching, where they really get to expand their perspectives around the job. And sometimes, even being able to open up about certain internal struggles that they're experiencing at work, they might not feel 100% confident to talk about with their internal staff, for fear of repercussion at work. I think having an external mentoring and coaching system in place is really important. So if you're lucky enough to work for a large nursery chain, obviously you can get that from other settings. But, if you're from an independent nursery or a single setting or a small group, you could outsource that, or you could, invest in your staff members engaging in networking activities or attending events. Now, I feel that this is particularly important for men working in early years as well, because obviously they experience a unique set of challenges in the sector. And, statistically speaking, the retention rate of men working in early years is lower than a female one. So, when it comes to retaining your current male workforce, I think it's important to make some critical considerations about the unique challenges that they experience. Just to give you an example, one of the issues that we often encounter, and that's not purely based on my own experience, but probably on the 99% of the experiences of the members of our community, is the parental concern and stigma around male presence around young children, especially in intimate care routines such as nappy changing or changing clothes or physical contact with the children. So I think it's really important for nursery settings to work in partnership with parents, and not only to sort of educate them on the importance of a gender mixed teaching workforce, but also try and prevent those episodes of discrimination, microaggression, or concern from taking place. And this, I think, links in quite well with the with the recruitment and attraction of male candidates to your setting. So why not have a website section on your website, for example, where you showcase that you are inclusive towards men in early years. You can showcase the positive stories of your male workforce, or if you don't have any male, just you create a section where you highlight your commitment to your DIY goals. That's one of the strategies that I would adopt. But most importantly, I would say educate your members of staff around the importance of a diverse workforce. Another challenge that we often experience in our earliest journey is the feelings of isolation that we might encounter in a nursery setting. So a lot of the members of our community, they might find themselves as the only male working in that setting or one of the few males, and often that can play a huge role in the mental health and well-being of a member of staff in a nursery setting. Specifically, with experiencing feelings of isolation and not being able to open up about certain issues, some of them gender-related issues at work, which highlights the importance of having that external mentoring and coaching network for those individuals as a minority group. Another issue that men in early years are experiencing is recruitment biases. So just to give you an example, often men in early years get recruited with a specific intention in mind from a nursery manager, such as, for example, hiring somebody who would cover an authoritarian role within the setting or being a disciplinarian for that. And that's so wrong, because obviously we don't want to exacerbate those negative gender stereotypes around what a man should do or what a woman should do. There's a lot to be said about encouraging staff members to tackle those gender stereotypes in their teaching practices as well. So you don't want your recruitment process to be a negative reflection of that at the same time. Another issue that we've experienced in the past with quite a few members of our community as well was the policies implementation with regards to physical contact with the children. So I recently had a member of our community reporting that he was told by his nursery manager that he wasn't allowed to have children sitting on his lap, but then he's noticed that one of his female colleagues was doing the same, and she wouldn't get told the same by her nursery manager. So again, it's looking at having a set of inclusive policies, and if you do have them in place, make sure that you implement them properly and equally without any discrimination. Another thing that I can think of, when we talk about policies and procedures, are your policies reflective of your commitment towards gender inclusivity. One of the things that comes to my mind, for example, is the maternity leave. And, we often talk about the importance of having equal involvement, equal parental involvement from your clientele, whether they're mothers or fathers. And we often experience that fathers don't have the same level of engagement in a nursery life. But is your maternity leave a natural representation of that mentality? One of the things that I always recommend nurseries to do is to consider an extended paternity leave package, if not an equal parental leave policy, so that you can really make your setting as inclusive as possible for that minority group, which is obviously the men working in early years. And at the same time, by doing that, you can make your setting more attractive to men, and therefore tapping into that minority group that currently we're not doing enough, I think, and can have the potential of overcoming that recruitment struggle that we're experiencing.
Yes, and thank you, Claudio, and thank you for sharing how settings can enhance not only the recruitment but also the retention processes that they have in place to promote that inclusivity and diversity. That's really great to hear. Thank you. You did touch upon apprenticeships earlier, so I'm quite interested to hear how settings can leverage and make use of apprenticeships to support that recruitment as well. You mentioned untapped resources of potential talented staff. Obviously, apprenticeships is just that as well. So how have you seen that done effectively?
Oh, I think I'm quite biased here because I started out as an apprentice myself and worked my way up to a nursery management role from there. I think apprenticeships are a fantastic way to provide like a structured pathway for individuals to enter the earlier sector. And when I say individuals, I'm not talking about just younger people, but people of all different ages, even career changes. So I think one thing that I always recommend is for setting to establish strong partnerships with apprenticeship providers and ensure that they offer high quality training and mentoring. I think that clear pathways from apprenticeship to permanent roles can really help secure long-term members of staff. I think with apprenticeships, we have a massive opportunity there to attract a wider, diverse pool of candidates there. Obviously, you know, there are so many people out there who might not resonate with a degree journey, with a university journey, you know, due to costs associated to it sometimes, or even the fact that it is quite a lengthy journey for someone to engage in. So, you know, apprenticeships can provide that opportunity to get a formal qualification within a year, 18 months, and at the same time, whilst you're earning a salary. And I feel that that's really amazing opportunity.
And finally, how can settings encourage a specialism amongst their teams to really add value to their setting and the offering that is being given to the children within that space?
I think one of the things that settings could do to leverage that is to create mini specialism opportunities within their settings, like mini roles that not only provides members of staff an opportunity to sort of like get more responsibilities and extra and carry out extra tasks around their day-to-day jobs, but also enhances the provision of your setting. So obviously some specialism examples could be working in special educational needs. So as a SENCO, special educational needs coordinator, or being a behavior management specialist, or even working within EAL, so children learning English as an additional language. I remember in my own experience, I became a prevent duty officer. So I was ensuring that all members of staff within my setting would receive appropriate training with regards to tackling extremism behavior related to all different protected characteristics. Now, again, talking about special educational needs, for example, I think one important thing to do would be providing accessible training opportunities for members of staff. So pairing in-house workshop opportunities with funded external courses or access, you know, to online CPD programs that focus on SEN and language support. You know, one thing that nursery settings could do is collaborating with training providers to ensure that staff members have access to high quality, relevant content. Again, the importance of creating mini roles, specialist roles, such as the SENCO, the Special Educational Needs Coordinator. There are some other great ones out there, like Fire Safety Officer. You could even have things like sports coach, for example, or I've just visited one of our settings that had a woodwork DIY specialist within the setting. So he would make sure that through specialized activities within the setting, you know, staff members were trained on covering all the different areas of learnings within those activities. So you can really get as creative as you want when it comes to create specialized roles within the settings. But I think most importantly, one of the things that you should ensure whenever you put something like that in place is that you provide a structured mentoring and peer learning program in place, so that those members of staff who are going to cover those specialist roles can feel supported, nurtured, and mentored throughout the entire journey, and they can hopefully cascade the knowledge that you provide them with onto their teams and members of staff as well.
Okay. So as we close this episode of the podcast, I'd like to extend many thanks to Claudio for sharing such wonderful insights with us and really, really important examples that really bring everything to life. So I really do appreciate that. Thank you very much. It's been a fantastic and wonderful discussion, and really great to hear how inclusivity and diversity can really be promoted within our settings, not just at the recruitment stage, but that really key retention stage as well when already in role. So once again, thank you so much. Really enjoyed hearing from you there. And thank you to our audience. Thank you for taking the time to watch. We hope that you found it valuable, and we hope to see you again soon for the next episode.